Welcome back to the second episode of the Shredder Adventure series. Most or maybe all of you know me, but for those who don't, I'm Anna, and my little shredders are Anne-Sophie and Zoe. They're on this call, but they're on another screen here. And I'm super excited to see you all on here. I miss riding bikes with all you shredders, but at least I get to see your little smiling faces every Wednesday afternoon now until April on these calls. Most of you on here are Saratoga Shredders and families of Saratoga Shredders, but we also have some NICA and Grit girls and coaches on here from different teams across the country. So we have a whole range of ages of girls on this call, from elementary school aged Saratoga Shredders through to seniors in high school who race and ride with NICA and Grit. A little bit of Zoom admin, Shredder mentor extraordinaire Tess is letting folks into this call through the waiting room, and she's also hanging out in the chat room to take all your questions. This call is all about you girls being able to ask Katerina questions about her life as a professional athlete. You can ask her about Clif Bars, about the Olympics, about her gorgeous doggies, Ruby and Lola, about all the sports that she excels at, anything you want. So feel free to raise your hand when you have a question, and I'll call on you to unmute yourself, or write or have your parent write a question in the chat box that we can ask Katerina if you prefer that. All right, enough of all those details. Our guest today is superstar Katerina Nash. Katerina is one of the most decorated female cyclists of all time, competing in 5 Olympic Games. She's competed in both the Summer and the Winter Olympics. For mountain biking, she's competed in the 96 Atlanta, 2012 London, and 2016 Rio Summer Olympics. And for cross-country skiing, she's competed in the 98 Nagano, Japan, and 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. Summer and Winter Olympics in 2 different sports. She was only 17 years old when she competed in the 96 Atlanta Olympics and 37 at the most recent Olympics in Rio. She has won 7 World Cup Cyclocross titles, and she'll tell you all about the sport of cyclocross in a little bit, including one just last year. She's been a Clif pro athlete for her entire professional career, has her very own Katerina Nash CLIF Bar, peanut butter banana flavored, which we all enjoyed this season. And most awesomely, she was responsible for supplying shredders with Clif SNACKS in 2020. So we really appreciate that, Katerina. Thank you. Another fun detail is that one of our original and awesome shredder mentors, Pavla Berry, was on the Czech national ski team with Katerina Nash. Pavla was on the Alpine ski team and Katerina was on the Nordic ski team. So they've been best friends for years through ski racing and living in the States. And Pavla even named her own daughter, our very own Saratoga Shredder, Katerina Berry, after Katerina Nash. How fun is that? One thing I know is that both Katerinas seem to share an equal love for mud and riding through all the puddles. But I think, Katerina Nash, you would be hard pressed to be as loud, possibly, as Katerina Berry, as little Katerina.
I'll try.
Yeah. Katerina, we're super excited to have you join us in conversation today. Selfishly, I've been looking forward to this for months to finally chat with you. I've never spoken to an Olympian. And my daughters, Anne-Sophie and Zoe, have heard about you for years now since befriending the Berries. You're an inspiration to us all. The fact that you have managed to make a career out of riding bikes and continue to do so at the highest possible level in mountain biking and cyclocross racing into your 40s is phenomenal. It's inspiration to the girls and super inspirational to us moms too. So I wondered to start out with if you could introduce yourself a little bit to the girls and share a little bit about where you grew up and how you started out in all of these sports at a young age.
Well, thank you guys for having me, first of all, and thank you for the nice introduction. I think the most important thing about me is that I always been the kid that just wanted to play outside. And whether it was skiing or riding bikes or running around in the woods, it was just like the one thing that made me really, really happy from a very young age. And I grew up in the environment where that was possible. So you guys are so lucky to have a group like the Shredders that helps you to get out in the woods, you know, riding bikes with your friends. And some of my best memories in life are really those early years, just like getting lost in the woods with my friends and sharing our snacks and figuring out how to get home and just kind of learning that independence through the sport that we were doing given the season, you know, whether it was cross-country skiing or riding bikes in the summer. So and somehow throughout my childhood, I just picked up racing along the way, and I really enjoyed that as well. And being pretty competitive, kind of opportunities started to come up where I was racing on the regional level and then more of the national level. And then eventually that led to the international level. I just, just had to put in the work and do a lot of smaller racing before jumping into the big league. But I really, really enjoyed the process. So to quickly back up, yes, I grew up in Europe, the same country as Katerina's mom, Pavla. We both came from the Czech Republic. And we actually did meet in California where we both attended university and made the connection. So it's been really fun to follow what you guys created this spring and to see so many girls on bikes and just seeing the excitement, seeing the videos of riding all of you guys through puddles and braving those big drops and riding over rocks and all the great skills that you guys been working on. It's been super fun to watch. So anyway, I don't know what else.
Awesome. No, thank you.
I am about to start, hopefully. I mean, we haven't really got any confirmation, but if things do improve with the situation, with the COVID crisis situation, I should be bike racing for the same team, which is CLIF Bar, for my 20th season this year. And I can't wait to get back into it after essentially taking a year off from racing last summer because there just wasn't any racing in my area. So,
and is cyclocross racing kind of over now in the States anyway for the year? It's canceled, and then you'll look forward to mountain bike season.
Correct. So if things go well, we'll pick up mountain biking, possibly some gravel, that kind of stuff for the summer months. And cyclocross tends to go from end of September through February. So technically, cyclocross is still happening in Europe for those that want to check it out. There's 3 more races, I think, including the World Championship. But in the United States, it never got going this year for obvious reasons. And so hopefully by next fall, there will be more action again.
Yeah, I'll be interested. We have Maddie Monroe coming on later on the show to talk, and she's over in Europe just now, competing at a very young age, of course, over there.
Yeah.
I'm curious how it's been during COVID to have, probably a reduced start list and how that all works for.
It sounds quite difficult. I mean, on top of, at such young age, essentially spending the entire winter in Europe, there's the element of having all the tests done before every event and obviously traveling safely throughout. Belgium, where all the racing is happening right now, it's a very small country, so the travel is very easy. You essentially always drive an hour and you're at the race, unlike United States. But still, that'd be interesting conversation coming from such a young rider.
Could we back up just a second and maybe could you explain to the girls, they know quite a bit about mountain biking, or the sport of mountain biking anyway at this point. Could you explain cyclocross and how it's different and similar to mountain biking?
So cyclocross is essentially very similar to mountain biking in the sense that you're also riding on the dirt. So we have a road riding where these athletes, they always stay on the pavement for most part. But with cyclocross, we might start on the pavement, but then immediately go on to the dirt. So in that sense, it's very similar to mountain biking. What's a little different is the bicycle. The bicycle looks more like a road bike. So there's no suspension, no big tires. They're just a little bit bigger than like a road bike, slick tires. And we have a little bit of knobs to, selection of different tires to choose from. But it's kind of, I guess, this little hybrid between road riding and mountain biking.
It's such a cool sport, and the little bit that I've watched or participated in, it's such a great spectator sport, right? For you kiddos at home to be able to, when cyclocross season starts up again, to be able to watch it. There's so much action in the sport of cyclocross on and off the bikes there. And I'd love to show a little clip of you, spoiler alert, winning one of the World Cups last year. So Katerina was competing in the cyclocross World Cup last year and had a phenomenal race. And I love this video. Just purely the mud aspect is just incredible. I mean, so many races in Europe are very muddy, right? Like that's kind of part of the sport of cyclocross. But this was incredible, the amount of mud that was on here. So I'm gonna share my screen, and maybe while I'm doing that, you can kind of explain this particular race or what this race means to you and where it was. And it was in Waterloo, right? So that's in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so this event took place in Waterloo, Wisconsin, and essentially the course is right on the property of Trek Bikes. So the offices for Trek, essentially Trek headquarters, is based right here in Waterloo. And because cyclocross courses are typically, the lap is very short, much shorter than mountain bike races. You go around a small little loop, and hopefully we'll get to the video.
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna have you explain it first, and then because it's kind of fun to listen to the commentary too on the back. It's very exciting.
Oh, I see. You have a, okay. So anyway, so when it does rain and you send so many people on this short little lap, the conditions change dramatically, because we probably had, I don't know, a few hundred people riding on this particular course over a few days, and it just, the bikes kind of like, you know, change the grass into what you get to see. And also the courses do change throughout the race. You know, we race anywhere from 40 minutes to 50 minutes, and sometimes it could start raining halfway through the race. And so you have to be kind of prepared for anything. And I think that's a really fun part about cycling, that you just never, you know, it's never gonna look like the swim in the pool or the, you know, 100 meters run track and field. You just never know what's going to happen in the race, and you kind of have to fight, not just through in the race, but fight also the elements that are thrown at you. So yeah, so this is what cyclocross looks like. Not every single weekend, but many of those weekends, this is what we do, just schlepping through the mud.
All right, girls, watch this. It's a lot of mud. You ready for all these mud puddles? Here we go.
Richards here, Trek Factory Racing. Of course, is the incredible Katerina Nash.
Magali Rochette resplendent in her World Cup leader skin suit.
Claire Honziger, Caroline Money, French national champion, also front row start. So much tension in a start like this.
The light is green and the riders are off. Here we go, Tim.
You have to make sure you're getting those pedals. Xavier Richards on the left-hand side, really good start. Magali Rochette. Looks like Katerina Nash a little bit tucked into the back. As soon as you hit this dirt, you are going to start getting covered in mud. It's going to feel very comfortable in these conditions, but this is going to be our mudder, Avi Richards. So she's already got a short lead. Katerina Nash holding firm in second. Ellen Van Looy in third. Actually, there you go. You've got Katerina Nash coming into view just behind her. This might be Katerina's chance to get on terms with our rider, Avi Richards, here from the UK.
And she made a few mistakes on the first lap. She quickly corrected those, and here we see her, she's running down Avi Richards.
Well, too much mud, too deep. Katerina Nash leading Avi Richards just over the barrier. Here comes Joanna Neff rocking it in 8th position, already moving up from the 30th position Yolanda Neff has passed Avi Richards. She's gotten her that long section on the flats. She was able to keep moving forward.
So Ruby West will be looking here at our race leader, just trying to pick apart some of these off cambers. She's figured it out by now. She's getting off her bike quickly when she runs out of momentum. She's just charging up this. She's finding the traction. She's looking all over for it. Keeping momentum, using the tree even just to give herself a little bit more. And here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner today, Katerina Nash. There's your high fives. You can see the joy on her face. What an absolutely great ride, Tim.
Our Swiss national champion, happy to have had a race where she continually moved forward.
What a fantastic race from this young rider. She took the bull by the horns early.
You get to the top of the world. As long as you're willing to work at it, it doesn't go away overnight either. Every now and then it still works out, and I'm pretty happy.
So awesome. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. Congratulations. First of all, that's just incredible. That was just last year, last season, before pre-COVID season.
Yes, correct. That was a fall of 2019, so a little over a year now. But yeah, thanks for that reminder. That was kind of fun to watch again.
Incredible. All right, we have a few questions already, Katerina, if you don't mind taking questions from the audience. The first,
that's what I'm here for.
yeah, the first question, I can't see which girls they are, but your name on Zoom is Voorheesville. So if you could unmute yourselves. Sorry, I can't see who it is. Just say your name before you ask your question for Katerina.
My name's Whitty. And did you race mountain bikes or skis when you were a kid?
So I started with cross-country skiing. That was my very, very first sport. And then when I was in high school, mountain bikes just kind of started to come around. And so I got introduced to that and sort of combined the mountain bike and skiing for quite some time until I really was maybe halfway through the university studies when I decided skiing was the thing of past. And then I would try cycling for the first, like full time for the first time. So I would say I started mountain biking around 16, but it wasn't until I was almost like 23 that I decided to do it full time and just focus on that. And then I tried cyclocross even later. I must have been 27, 28 when I got introduced to cyclocross. And I was ready to try a new thing. I mean, the thing about cyclocross and mountain biking, we're still talking bikes and pedaling, and there's a lot of things that obviously are similar. So it's always it's always good to try new things, and that's what like cycling is that's what's so neat about cycling, because you don't just have to ride your mountain bike. You can go ride your road bike, you can ride gravel bike, you can ride cyclocross bike, and you can do racing in all of those different things. So for you guys, what's so cool, you starting with that like more technically difficult sport. Like once you're a good mountain biker, you can ride bikes anywhere, any terrain, and you guys are gonna do a great job. So yeah, it's good to start on the mountain bike because it gives you guys a lot of skill set that will come in handy later on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question.
We cross country ski too. And the other day, we went up to Thatcher and we skied a little bit, and they have good skiing trails there.
That's like fun. Yeah. I think it's
really technical for mountain biking. So I can imagine for cross country skiing, it's even more challenging. So that's a really big deal.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I really like to change things up a little bit. So it's always fun to go skiing in the winter and then ride bike in the summer, you know. So yeah, do as many sports as you can, especially at this age.
Anushka and Annika, you had a question. Did you unmute yourselves?
My question is, do you ski in the snow?
Huh?
I mean, do you bike in the snow?
Oh, bike in the snow. I have done a few cyclocross events in the snow because it's technically a winter sport. So it does happen that sometimes there's a snow and ice, and most of the time it's mud. And I've done a little bit of training on my mountain bike in the snow, but I never ridden like a fat bike or anything like that. I just go skiing. If I have a chance to be on snow, I'll just go ski and then, you know, ride my bike later when I'm away from the mountains.
And do you do any other sports than biking and skiing?
So as a kid, I started when I was like your age and younger. I actually started with gymnastics, and I really, really liked the sport, but I didn't really enjoy being inside all the time. Like we always were in the gymnasium, you know, and so when I had an opportunity to join the ski club and I tried, I really, really liked it, and eventually gave up on gymnastics. But I think it was a really good sport for me to kind of uh, just it's a good sport that gives you these like skills to do anything, you know, because if you've done gymnastics, you will be really good with balance and strength and kind of the awareness of your body. And you can apply that to riding a bicycle or skiing or anything like that. So, and then once I joined the ski team, we also did a lot of different things like riding bikes and running and track and field. And we played a lot of games, whether it was soccer or a little bit of baseball, just a little bit of everything, keeping it fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Soph and Maya, Smemo.
What are good ways to get to increase your upper body strength for going up hills?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I definitely like the more specific strength speaking. Like I don't like to go to gym and lift a lot of things. And that's definitely not something you guys should do at your age. It's something you have to be a little bit older to do. But that's why like cross country skiing is really good, because it requires lots of upper body strength, you know. And I don't know, there's other things, you know. Sometimes you at a cabin and, you know, mom and dad needs help bringing some firewood inside the house. You know, like I look at all those little things as an opportunity to have a little workout, you know, so to speak, and, you know, kind of help out at the same time. So yeah, cross country skiing. And I also know that a lot of the kids' bikes are very, very heavy for you guys. So just riding those bikes and maneuvering those bikes, that's already a pretty good workout, you know. So you don't have to at this age think about having some specific gym workout. It should just be all play and doing all the different sports.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also,
Yep, go ahead.
I forgot.
It's okay. We'll come back to you if you think of it. We've got a couple other questions. We're going to do Sophia and Ella and then Maya. Sorry, Sophia and Emma. Murray.
We were wondering what some of your favorite hobbies were.
Oh, so I really enjoy spending time with my dogs. I know
Okay.
that's not really a hobby, but I feel like all my free time for the last 10 years that I've had dogs, have been kind of dedicated to spending time with them. And because they used to be very active dogs, we were always just outside hiking, skiing. I used to ride my bike with them a little bit, but like really, really enjoying the time with them. So that would be one. I like to read a little bit, especially when I'm traveling. And I like to kind of, I don't have any family nearby currently. Like all my family is back in Europe. So I do like to travel and visit with my family. I have still both my grandmas, and I have a lot of cousins, aunts, uncles, and my parents. So whenever I have time, I just, figure out a way to travel back to Czech Republic and spend time with family.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? Gabby, I have a question. Oh, sorry, Maya's next. Sorry, Maya.
You
Maya,
guys go.
Capsa, please.
She can't see you. Wait till they call on you. I'll tell you when they call on you. Oh, wait.
I'm not sure what that is. Where are? Is Maya?
Wait, no, you could
Her question.
What are some of your favorite ways to train for cross?
To train for cyclocross? Was that the question? Yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite ways to train for cyclocross?
Because the short cyclocross races are kind of shorter than mountain biking. Like my mountain bike races could be anywhere from an hour and a half to 5. And cyclocross, as I mentioned earlier, is more like 40 to 50 minutes. So I typically have to like do a little bit of a shorter, more intense workouts. And those I would do specifically with like cyclocross bike, where if like, let's say I'm in the mountains and with the cyclocross bike, I can make it up the hill. I don't have enough gears or strength, whatever. Then you just kind of throw the bike on your shoulder and you run. So I have these workouts where I just like, it's not really like planned out ahead, but I just go out, and if I see like an opportunity to run, hammer up some hills or just like come down on something. And that applies a little bit to my, when I train in the city, there's so many things that you can actually use for cyclocross training, whether it's stairs or like a little, bike path and things like that. So I just kind of like pick up the pace and kind of play around on my bike and see what I can ride up and down. And if I can, then you're practicing that remount, dismount, which is very crucial. Like, as you saw in that video, like we would get off the bike because it was unrideable, or it wasn't as fast to ride a section. So we get off the bike, we run. But part of the cyclocross skill set is be able to quickly get back on the bicycle and get off the bicycle, so you're not losing any time. So I like the workouts where you can kind of, duplicate, imitate the actual racing of cyclocross. And you'd be surprised how many places you can actually play around on your bike without having some specific course built for that. So.
And speaking of cyclocross, you had a question about what was the question? What's your worst cross fail? And then a related question is, when you go over the barriers, do you choose to bunny hop the barriers or do you choose to run over them?
So I'll start with the second one. I can bunny hop, but my success rate is very low, meaning that I will always be faster and safer to dismount, run, and remount. Like I'll always be quicker. I might be able to get over certain height of the barriers by bunny hopping, but when I'm in that race environment, I look at efficiency and not whether I'm going to be cool looking on TV or not. So I always choose to run it. Unless they're super low and you can kind of, or like I've done some local events where they have just one, which I can handle, but if it's too in back to back, which is typically the standard for the international racing, then I have not improved on that skill, but I am so good at running it that that's kind of what I'm sticking with. I would like to improve on it a little bit more, but for now, when it comes to like very important racing, I'll always run it because the chances of success are a lot higher for me. Although you can still trip even running, so they sometimes get you one way or the other. And then I already forgot the first question. Oh, my biggest fail. I had few. I mean, you know, that's what racing's all about. You definitely going to fail more than you succeed. But luckily in the cyclocross, like a lot of, whether it's a crash or whatever, it's, you know, it's kind of like, imagine falling into the mud. It's pretty soft and people don't get hurt as much as they do on the mountain bike or road racing. So that's fine. But I did have kind of a sad ending to a world championship a few years ago where I was in the medal position. I was in third place and we probably had less than a couple minutes racing, and I went around the corner and my chain got stuck in my wheel to the point that I couldn't get it out. The only way to get to the finish was by running. And I started to run. I got passed by another rider, which at this point I'm losing a medal. And then I come around a corner and this rider went down. So now there is a small chance I can maybe run fast enough to the finish and get the medal. And so I'm back in the third position, approaching as quickly as I can the finish line. But right in front of the finish line, this French girl got enough momentum, got up after her crash, got up just to nip me right at the line. And yeah, it was pretty sad. That was like heartbreaking because I had a good race and it just, you know, it wasn't really anything that I did wrong. It was just kind of mechanical problem with the bike that we have experienced a few times leading up to the race, and it just happened in the wrong time. So yeah, I had few of those, but they happen in life. They happen in sports, and you know, I recovered and I went on to win many, many more races after that. And now I can laugh about it, but it was hard. It was heartbreaking. I cried.
So much Gabby Capsule, you're next, and then Lily. Gabby, then Lily.
I was wondering if you ride the same bike or do you change it up depending on the conditions?
So I'm lucky to be sponsored, which means I get bicycles for free from my team, from our sponsor. And so I get different bikes for different, essentially different disciplines. So I have a mountain bike, I have a road bike, I have a cyclocross bike, and I even got a gravel bike this year. So on any given day, I might ride one of those 4 bikes. And obviously, if I do go to a race, I have to bring the right bike because there are rules with bikes you can use where. So once again, I really enjoy kind of changing things up a little bit and jumping on different bikes because each bike is kind of built for different thing. And, but I don't know. I think as long as you have one working bike and a helmet, that's all you need.
And what like brand bikes do you ride?
I ride for Specialized.
Very cool.
Which is an American company and makes it really, really nice bikes.
Thank you.
Yeah. What bike do you ride?
I ride a Trek.
Trek. Those are nice bikes too. Yeah.
I should say that her dad happens to be the manager of our Trek store in Saratoga. So
yeah. My, one of my best friend in Czech Republic has been part of Trek for probably 30 years now.
Nice.
So
Both great companies.
yeah.
Lily, you had a question. And Lily is a cyclocross racer. She's
Yeah.
a 10-year-old cyclocross racer.
Yeah, and I was wondering, what's your favorite part of the course? Like the barriers or like hiking up the hills?
Oh, well, I definitely like when the courses are a little bit more muddy and hilly. So any of those conditions are pretty fun. I also like descending. So, you know, any of those kind of slick corners and that kind of stuff I found that pretty fun. I don't like the flat, fast races. I like when it kind of looks more like the video you guys saw.
The muddier, the better, right? Right.
Exactly.
All the girls love to go through the puddles.
I highly approve that.
We have Piper next, and then Isabella.
How do you feel when you win a race?
Well, it typically feels really, really good to cross that finish line because first of all, you're pretty tired because you've been working super hard for that length of the race. But sometimes you think about all the training, all the years and months and preparation that went into, and if it's like a really big race, then you kind of really appreciate all the effort that went into it. And then what I enjoy the most about winning a race is like kind of sharing it with either my family, friends, or my team, like seeing everybody else at the finish, or like, you know, if they're not able to be there, like later on, just talking to people, like seeing the excitement through somebody else's eyes. That's always been my favorite, you know, because like we as athletes, it's like, it's a goal. And once you accomplish it, you take a little bit of time to appreciate it. But like, you know, you immediately start thinking about the next race and how to prepare for that race. So we don't give ourselves like enough time to really, like, you know, sometimes we don't have time to celebrate it because we are hopping on a plane and traveling to different part of the world. And, you know, you just like, it depends. But seeing the excitement that like your success can, you know, make your parents feel so happy and proud. And oh, there's a doggy. I got distracted. And your, you know, your friends and like even your teammates, you know, there's been so many times that I did not have a good race. But like, for example, my former teammate, Georgia Gould, she got a bronze medal in London and I came in, whatever, 12th or something. And she's still standing in the finish. And with the Olympics, you don't have the, you know, it's all barricaded, like people can storm to the athlete and congratulate and hug each other. So I think I was one of the first one to give her a hug, and just seeing her and her accomplishment was really fun, you know? And so, yeah, so I hope as you guys like ride, you know, next summer and you overcome these obstacles of hopping a log or just going down a scary downhill, like hopefully you will understand that supporting each other also helps you to kind of be a better bike rider and kind of learning from each other. I think that's a great thing about us women. Like we can support each other through that, you know. So
Absolutely. Since you just mentioned the Olympics, I've been shocked that there hasn't been a single question about the Olympics yet. Can I ask a question? What's it like being at the Olympics? Can you just give us a little review of what it's like?
The Olympics are they're pretty amazing, but for most of the athletes, it's pretty stressful because you are heading to the Olympics to do like you know, the best job you can. And you prepare for a really, really long time. And suddenly all that enjoyment that people enjoy on TV, that kind of goes away because you just so focus on the job and, you know, trying not to get sick, traveling to the Olympics, you know, making sure everything is working out, equipment and all of that. And so it's yeah, it's intense. It's very, very intense. And I in some ways enjoy the Winter Olympics much more because I got to do probably 3 to 4 different races at the Winter Olympics, versus with the cycling you just have that one day, that one race, and it seems so hard to put everything towards that one day and have it all work out the way everybody's dreaming, you know. So it's hard, but being part of it, it's been a neat experience. I really enjoyed all my time at the Olympic, at the different Olympics. But at this point in my life, I'm happy I'm not preparing for another Olympics because it does take a lot of
That was
focus.
going to be a question. So you're not aiming for Tokyo then for this?
No, I wasn't. Regardless, no, Tokyo wasn't on my mind anymore, and just really seeing what's happening this, you know, this past summer with postponement, and honestly, like with the uncertainty that these Olympic athletes are facing right now, it's it's challenging. It's really, really hard. You guys got to chat with Kate Courtney last week, and she's one of those athletes. You know, she spent all winter long last year preparing for that big goal. You know, and she's going into the same, like she's doing the work without really knowing that, you know, that these games will go ahead. So it's a tough place to be in, but luckily there's all this other racing, and it's, you know, there hopefully will be some racing, even if the Olympics don't happen, we'll race bikes again. So, and she's young, that she'll have a chance to hopefully do it multiple times, you know. But there are definitely athletes that were gunning for their last Olympic games, and, you know, it may not happen. So it's a tough place to be in, but everybody's kind of suffering in different ways with with this pandemic. So
Absolutely. Katerina Barry, you have 2 questions for Katerina Nash.
How many times did you win a race?
Ooh, I do not know. I've raced for a really, really, I started racing when I was your age, little kid. So I don't know. I won a lot of races, but I didn't win even more. And that's kind of how it is. You know, we don't win a lot of races, and then the ones we do, it feels good. It's pretty fun.
Did you have another question, Katerina?
How many injuries did you have?
I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had too many major things, but I did have one year that kind of did not go really well for me. I broke 7 ribs on the bike. I crashed on the sidewalk. I mean, I was in the race, but I landed on the sidewalk. We started in the city, and then shortly after that, the ribs recovered pretty quickly. I mean, you have to give it a few weeks, but the ribs kind of come back together, and there's not much later on kind of consequences. It's painful in the way that you can sneeze or you can't laugh. So you gotta tell all your friends, no joking when you have broken ribs. It hurts too much. So once I recovered from that, shortly after that, I broke my ankle cross-country skiing. And that was a bit more significant injury that never really healed that well. But other than that, I have to say I've been very healthy and very lucky not to have any surgeries or anything like that. So Probably why I managed to be an athlete for a long period of time, just because I didn't have to overcome those health issues and injuries like so many athletes do.
Tess, you had some questions in the chat box that came up. Could you ask a couple of those questions?
Yeah, we've got a couple of these. So Cameron Ray had asked, do you downhill ski and what type of dogs do you have?
So I do more backcountry skiing than the resort skiing. It's the same idea, except you don't take a chairlift, you just hike up and you ski down. So I've done a bunch of that. I'll go alpine skiing if Pavla takes me for some pointers again, but I haven't really honestly had tons of time for that kind of skiing because cyclocross tends to happen in the winter, and then the transfer to mountain biking season is too short. So I hope to do a lot more in the future. And what was the second question?
What kind of dogs do you have?
Oh, what kind of dogs? Yeah, how could I forget that? I have two Vizslas. They are a little bit older.
Actually, sorry. I just returned from bike ride and they got into
it, so I've been giving them the silent treatment. But here they are, napping. Ruby.
No.
Okay, that one's not talking to me either. There is Lola.
Oh, and do they ride with you a bit too, don't they?
They don't ride with me anymore just because their age, but yes, we used to ride bikes a little bit for sure. And they like cross-country skiing and hiking and walking and I even took them ice skating the other day. So they've done all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Tess, was there another question in the chat box?
Yep, I have two more. And Ella would like to know what you eat on bike rides.
I eat a lot of Clif product. I'm not very organized sometimes. I definitely if I ride with like a camelback or like some type of backpack, sometimes I bring fruit if it's a longer day, or I also like kind of like salty stuff. So I brought like crackers with me, and I kind of like just change it up from those kind of sweeter bars. But most of the time I always leave the house with some type of like Clif product. I don't always eat it because sometimes I get to like a point in the ride that I know I'll be home in an hour, and then I'm just like, oh, I'll just have soup or whatever, something at home. But I always carry either Clif Bar or Luna Bar or some kind of blocks, just because on the bike you never really know how, you might get a flat tire or you might get lost or whatever. And I like to be prepared. Like there's nothing worse than getting very hungry and being lost. So.
Thank you. Yep, I have just one more from the chat, and Elise would like to know, what is life like on an elite cycling team? I know other sports that your life is micromanaged, full of workouts and often soul crushing. Is that true for you?
No, it's not true for me, and I don't think I could do it that long if that was the image. I definitely, like I would say, when I was ski racing and I was part of a team and we were more like always going on training camps and like training together, that was a little bit more kind of the structure of that. But with cycling, it's pretty it's pretty easy to ride your bike. Nobody really needs to watch your technique in that sense. So a lot of the coaching kind of happens online, and I haven't really like even worked with a coach for a while. So it's all about understanding that like some days are harder than others because you have to do the hard work, let's say the intensity, the intervals you don't like, but they have to get done, and the other times, sometimes I just go ride with, hopefully with you guys one day. So it's like a little bit of everything in between. But no, I got to a point in my career that I really needed to enjoy it. Otherwise it's time to move on. And yeah, so I still ride my bike for fun. And, I get the work done. That's like, you can't continue to have this as your job if you don't do the work, but it doesn't have to sound horrible. No job should sound bad. It just might have some bad moments, but overall it's gotta, I think we all need to enjoy it. And being a cyclist is definitely a super unique opportunity for kind of interesting lifestyle, and something a little bit different and unique, and it has its own challenges, but it's also really rewarding. And if I had a choice in my early 20s to do it again, I would definitely do it again. I've had a lot of fun.
It's great to hear. Isabella, you're next. Isabella Castro was a great question. And then who was next? I think we had, go ahead, Isabella, and then I'll figure out who's next. Can you unmute yourself?
So what have you gone into a race where you could race with your friends? Like, have you raced with your friends one time?
Oh yeah, I mean, lot of the smaller races, there may not be that many different categories, so kind of like requirements for, there might be just one big group racing together, and sometimes they do the results after all for different categories or something like that. But I do enjoy a lot, and this is some of you guys might look into this in your area for the future. I love doing Halloween cyclocross races where I just plan with like a couple of my girlfriends weeks and weeks ahead our costumes. Like, what am I gonna do so it still works jumping on and off the bike? And then we go do this event, which is typically at night with like lights, and it's really fun because it's all these adults dressed up in costumes riding around on the cyclocross bike. So that's the one I look forward the most doing with my friends, but a lot of the racing, honestly, it's like, even on the international level, you just see people year after year, and you make friends even in the field of this highest competition. Some of those riders will be your friends. Not everybody, it's hard to be friendly with everybody in the field, but there will be always some people that they're in the field. And after hard race, after tough effort, it's always nice to see some familiar faces that you can chat with. And I think a lot of people enjoy those kind of stories. As soon as the race is over, everybody wants to tell the story, so
yeah, we have those great moments at the end of shredders rides, right, girls, where everyone's telling their stories after their shredders ride in the parking lot. It's just my favorite part of the whole evening is listening to all these stories that they tell from their little adventure. Hedge Pets, you have a question, and then Lily, and then I think we'll probably end. Katerina Barry had a great question to end on, and that'll probably bring us right to 6. So go ahead, Leila and Chauncey.
What's your favorite part of skiing?
I really like powder skiing. Like, if you can go backcountry skiing on the nice, fun, like sunny, somewhat warm day, but still have that like powder just flying everywhere. And it doesn't happen for any of us that often anymore. I feel like we never see those big snowstorms these days, but when it does happen, that's pretty fun. So I
I've
like
back.
that.
We still have snow here.
Good.
We
Good.
get skiing in our backyard.
Yeah, I know. It's so snow is fun. Yeah.
Awesome. So Lily, you had a question. Lily O'Donnell. You there, kiddo?
So we just got a new puppy and we want to train him so he follows us on the bike for mountain biking. And I was wondering how you trained your dog to like follow him or her on like the backcountry skiing and biking.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I think it's like with the puppies, you can overwork them. They say the first year they shouldn't be following the bike or like running too fast. But I think it's important also learn from the young age and just take them for only a few minutes, and the dogs definitely learn like awareness. They're aware of things moving around them. And I have to say that I think like I gently bumped them with the tire a couple times, and from then on they just knew right away. They listened to the sound of the bike, the speed of the bike, and once I pick up a speed, they will move to the side and like let you go by. Like the backcountry skiing's a little trickier because you have very sharp edges on your skis. So I would definitely say go out cross-country skiing first, because once again, like those edges are not gonna hurt a doggy if you if the dog kind of runs around you a little too much. The one funny thing about one of my dog, Lola, she's so funny because if she's been on the trail before, she will never follow the switchbacks. She'll cut every switchback and she'll meet you at the bottom of the trail, and Ruby will just follow every little switchback. She'll come the same way I go. So it's kind of fun way to watch the dogs.
That's great. All right, I think we're gonna have to finish up, girls. Katerina Barry, what was your question? Do you remember?
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fun is biking?
Oh, 10, of course. Yay. Biking in the woods through puddles, come on. It doesn't get much easier than that, The cleanup afterwards, yeah, that gets a little harder, but.
Are you listening to that, Katerina Barry? The cleanup? Not just your mom cleaning up, but you also cleaning up.
Yeah, that's when it gets tricky. But when you're out there in the woods and you see that puddle, it's hard to resist. I get that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Katerina. It was wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope that we see you in Saratoga to shred with us at some point in the.
Yeah, I'll make a promise to come see you guys, and with so many witnesses now, it's like it will have to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Thank you guys. Bye. Nice to see you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Just bye.
Just bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Thank you guys.